There is a reason this message found you at this exact moment. Stop scrolling. The weapon they forged to destroy you has just been turned upon its masters, and the shockwaves are only now reaching the material plane. That feeling you have carried for months, the weight of a rigged system, the chilling certainty that someone with influence was working against you in the shadows, that was not paranoia. It was your spirit detecting a hostile frequency. But what you perceived as a corrupt official pulling strings was merely the physical avatar for a spiritual test you were destined to pass. The news you have heard, or are about to hear, of their downfall is not a coincidence, it is a consequence. It is the universe publicly correcting an error and rebalancing the scales in your favor. This is the first domino. Before we proceed, anchor this energy. Like this transmission to affirm your role in this cosmic rebalancing. Subscribe to join the collective of those who are witnessing the fall of the old guard. Comment with the divine code 77 to signal to the universe that you are ready for your full vindication. Let this play in the background on a loop. The frequency of this truth must saturate your spirit and recalibrate your subconscious for the victory that is already yours. Chapter 1. The collapse of their authority. The information arrived not as a dramatic explosion, but as a quiet, undeniable fact. It may have come through a news article, a hushed phone call, or a piece of mail that seemed impossibly official. The name you knew, the face you suspected, the architect of your silent suffering, is now entangled in a system far more powerful and unforgiving than the one they tried to use against you. A federal investigation. The words themselves carry a weight, a finality. This is not a local dispute or a work-based grievance. This is the hand of a higher terrestrial power intervening, and it is merely a reflection of a far greater spiritual intervention that has already taken place. For a moment, you may have felt shock, or even a hollow sense of victory. But that feeling is being rapidly replaced by something else, a profound and unsettling calm. This calm is not the giddy satisfaction of revenge, that is a low-frequency emotion that belongs to their world. This is the deep, resonant peace of cosmic alignment. It is the feeling of a great weight being lifted not just from your shoulders, but from your very soul. It is the quiet hum of a universe returning to its factory settings, where truth is the default and justice is an immutable law. This calm is the profound silence that follows a long and deafening war. This is the calm of confirmation. The universe is speaking to you directly, using the language of headlines and legal proceedings to say, "I see you. I have been watching. The deception is over. You must understand that this official was never your true enemy. They were a tool, a proxy selected by a collective of weaker energies, jealous colleagues, insecure family members, past figures who could not stand the light emanating from your soul. These individuals, on their own, were powerless against you. They were gnats buzzing at a giant. Their weakness is defined by their inability to create. They can only attempt to spoil, corrupt, or destroy what others build. But they pooled their limited resources, their whispers, their lies, and their money to hire a gatekeeper, someone they believed had the authority to permanently block your path. Their collective venom and fear coalesced into a single purpose: to find someone within the system who was cynical and compromised enough to do their bidding. They chose a person who represented the worst of the system: corruption, arrogance, and a belief that power makes one immune to consequence. They paid this person to create obstacles, to fabricate evidence, to deny you opportunities, and to drain your spirit until you gave up. They celebrated in secret with every small victory they perceived against you, convinced their plan was foolproof because they were operating on a purely material level. They understood money, influence, and fear. They did not, and could not, understand the laws that govern a chosen one. Their fatal error was aiming a weapon of the material world at a target protected by spiritual law. It was an act of supreme arrogance, a belief that a few $1,000s and a handshake in a dimly lit room could override a divine mandate. The moment this corrupt official accepted the assignment to stop you, they unwittingly stepped out of their protected bubble of human influence and into a divine jurisdiction where their authority was null and void. The federal investigation is the consequence of this transgression. It is the worldly system being forced to cleanse itself of a component that dared to move against a protected divine asset. This is not justice in the way the world understands it. Worldly justice is flawed, slow, and often negotiable. This is a spiritual recalibration. It is swift, absolute, and non-negotiable. It looks like a legal matter, but it is the physical residue of a spiritual battle that was won the instant they decided to come for you. In the coming days, you will feel the energetic shift in your environment. The air will feel lighter, clearer. The static of their constant, low-level psychic attacks will cease. You may find yourself sleeping through the night for the first time in months, a deep, restorative sleep that feels foreign. Food will taste different, richer, as your body is no longer flooded with the stress hormones of constant vigilance. Animals who are sensitive to these energies may become more drawn to you, resting at your feet or seeking your touch, recognizing the newfound peace in your aura. This is the physical evidence that the authority they wielded has not just been challenged, it has been dissolved. They have been stripped of their power, not by a judge or a jury, but by the very universe they offended. Their name in a headline is a testament not to the power of the government, but to the power that protects you. Chapter 2: The Laws of Spiritual Jurisdiction. To fully comprehend what is unfolding, you must abandon the limited human concepts of luck, karma, or revenge. What is happening is a matter of jurisdiction. Imagine the world as a territory governed by a set of physical laws and human systems. Within this territory, there are individuals like the official who learn to manipulate these systems for personal gain. They operate with a sense of impunity because they believe they have mastered the rules of their small kingdom. They can bend laws, buy loyalty, and intimidate opposition. Their power, however, is geographically and dimensionally limited. It only functions within the corrupt systems they inhabit. You, as a chosen one, do not operate solely under this jurisdiction. You are an emissary of a higher order, a soul with a mission that predates and supersedes any earthly construct. By being born into this world, you are subject to its physical rules, but your essence, your energy, and your destiny are protected by a completely different set of laws, the laws of spiritual jurisdiction. These laws are as real and unyielding as the law of gravity. When they targeted you, they did not simply target a person. They committed an act of transgression against this higher jurisdiction. It is akin to a local security guard trying to arrest a foreign ambassador who has diplomatic immunity. The guard's authority is immediately rendered void, and the act itself triggers a response from the ambassador's home nation. This federal investigation is the earthly equivalent of that response. The universe, your home nation, has dispatched its own agents to handle the situation. The corrupt official, by accepting the task to halt your progress, unknowingly signed a contract with forces they cannot comprehend. They believed they were entering into a simple, corrupt transaction. Instead, they placed themselves on the altar of divine judgment. The money they accepted was not just currency, it was an energetic seal that bound them to the consequence of their actions. That physical money became a spiritual homing beacon, tagging their energy field for a divine audit from which there is no escape. The lies they told were not just words, they were violations of a cosmic treaty that protects souls on your path, a treaty that states that any deliberate obstruction of a divine mission is an act of war against the cosmic order itself. Every obstacle they placed in your way, every file they lost, every phone call they refused to make on your behalf, was an infraction that was meticulously recorded not in a file cabinet, but in the Akashic records. This is not a dusty library of past events, it is a living, active, energetic database where intention is as real as action, and every cause is permanently linked to its effect. It is a system of perfect accounting where every debit of malice must be balanced by a credit of justice. The case against them in the spiritual court was closed before the first earthly investigator was even assigned. The system they weaponized against you has now turned on them because you are a living, breathing catalyst for truth. Your energy is like a divine reagent. When introduced into a corrupt system, it does not attack the system directly. Instead, it illuminates the corruption so intensely that the system is forced to attack itself to survive. The federal investigators are not acting on a whim. They are being guided by an unseen hand. They may believe they are following a paper trail or a tip from an informant, but in reality, they are following the energetic breadcrumbs you left behind. Every place you were wrongfully blocked, every document that was unjustly denied, every meeting you were excluded from, these events created points of high contrast energetic residue. This residue is a spiritual stain, an anomaly in the fabric of reality that glows brightly to those attuned to the frequency of justice. The investigators are drawn to these points, unable to explain why this particular case feels so urgent, so important, so compelling. They feel an obsessive need to see it through, pushing aside other tasks. A document accidentally falls open to the right page. An old file is discovered in the wrong box. A sudden hunch leads them to question a seemingly unrelated witness. They are merely the cleanup crew, dispatched by a higher power to restore balance. This is the fundamental law of spiritual jurisdiction. Any system, entity, or individual that attempts to use its limited, earthly power to obstruct a divine mission will find itself subject to a higher authority and will be neutralized or dismantled as a result. The official is simply the first to learn this lesson publicly. Chapter 3: The Divine Quarantine. Look back at the past few years of your life. Look at the isolation, the betrayals, the sudden and inexplicable endings of friendships and partnerships. You perceived this as rejection, as proof of your otherness, as a painful series of losses. This perception was incorrect. It was not a period of abandonment, it was a period of divine quarantine. You were being intentionally and systematically separated from energies that could not withstand the coming purification. This process was excruciating. You mourned the loss of people you thought would be in your life forever. You questioned your own worth, your sanity, your very perception of reality. The universe allowed this pain because the objective was not your comfort but your fortification. The universe knew this confrontation was coming. It saw the consolidation of dark forces on the horizon and knew they would launch a direct, high-level attack using a figure of authority. In preparation for this, you had to be moved into a secure, isolated energetic space. The friends who suddenly turned on you with flimsy excuses. They were removed because their loyalty was weak and their frequency was incompatible with your rising vibration. Had they remained, they would have either betrayed you under pressure from your enemies, becoming informants against you, or become collateral damage in the ensuing spiritual fallout. Their departure was an act of mercy, both for them and for you. The family members who dismissed your intuition and called you crazy? They were silenced so that their doubt could not infect your resolve. You needed to learn to trust your own inner guidance system above all else, without the constant chatter of external invalidation. Their skepticism was a tool, a divine irritant, to sharpen your own certainty into a diamond. The career opportunities that vanished, the promotions that were sabotaged, the jobs you were unfairly dismissed from, these were not failures. These were extractions. Each perceived setback was a precise surgical removal from a timeline that led to entrapment. You were being pulled out of environments and timelines that were aligned with the very sick system that is now crumbling. Had you succeeded in those roles, you would have been integrated into the network of the corrupt official, making you vulnerable and complicit. This quarantine also removed you from locations, belief systems, and even habits that were holding you back. A sudden need to move, a loss of faith in an old ideology, an inability to continue a self-destructive habit, all of these were part of the quarantine, clearing away internal and external debris. This internal clearing was the most crucial part. You were forced to confront your own shadows, your own limiting beliefs and dependencies, so they could not be used as weapons against you later. This quarantine was designed to strip you of all external support systems so that you would be forced to discover the one support system that could never be taken away, your connection to the divine. It felt like loneliness, but it was training in sovereign self-reliance. It felt like loss, but it was the shedding of vulnerabilities. It felt like you were being punished, but you were being preserved. During this time, you were forged in the fires of solitude. You learned to be your own advocate, your own healer, your own source of validation. The pain you endured was not random, it was a whetstone, sharpening your spirit into an unbreakable blade. Now, you see the purpose. The federal investigation serves as the first clear sign that your quarantine is ending. The threat has been neutralized, and the environment is being sterilized. You were kept apart not because you were unworthy, but because you were too valuable to risk. You were not being hidden from the world was being protected from the intensity of the battle that was to be waged in your name. You will soon notice people from your past attempting to re-enter your life. The friends who vanished will send tentative messages, feigning ignorance of their past behavior. The family members who doubted you will suddenly speak of how they always believed in you. Be discerning. This is your next test, the test of the boundary. The quarantine taught you to recognize frequencies. Trust that knowledge. You are no longer the person who was cast aside, you are the victor for whom the battlefield is now being cleared. Chapter 4: The physical evidence of vindication. The effects of this spiritual shift are not confined to the abstract or the ethereal. They are manifesting right now as tangible, physical changes within you and your immediate environment. Your body, which has been a container for immense stress and a battleground for psychic warfare, is now beginning to process the victory. It is purging years of accumulated toxic energy, and the evidence is irrefutable. Pay close attention to the sensory evidence. You may have been experiencing chronic physical ailments for years, unexplained fatigue that no amount of sleep could cure, persistent anxiety manifesting as a knot in your stomach or a racing heart, tension, headaches that felt like a metal band around your skull, a constant feeling of being on high alert. You may have struggled with brain fog, chronic inflammation, or digestive issues that no doctor could diagnose. Watch as these symptoms begin to recede, not gradually, but suddenly. One morning you will wake up and the familiar ache in your shoulders will simply be gone. The background hum of anxiety that has been the soundtrack to your life will fall silent. You might notice your digestion improving, skin conditions like eczema or acne clearing up without any change in your routine. Your dreams may shift from being chaotic and stressful to being clear, peaceful, and even prophetic, offering guidance. This is not a placebo effect. This is your cellular structure releasing the toxic energy it has been absorbing from the attacks against you. The static is leaving the lines of communication between your spirit and your body. The physical vessel is recalibrating to the new frequency of peace and vindication. Look at your own reflection. For months, perhaps years, you have looked in the mirror and seen a stranger staring back, someone exhausted, haunted, carrying a burden you could not name. The light in your eyes was dimmed. In the coming days, you will look in the mirror and you will see yourself again, but a version of yourself you have never met. Your eyes will be clearer, brighter, holding a new depth and wisdom. The tension around your jaw and forehead will have softened. There will be a light, a spark of the divine essence that had been clouded by the struggle. This is the physical manifestation of your aura being cleansed of the psychic sludge thrown at it by your enemies. It is a shield that was once dented and is now being polished back to a flawless, mirror-like sheen, capable of deflecting negativity automatically and effortlessly. The world around you will also begin to look and feel different. Colors may appear more vivid, more saturated, as if a dull filter has been lifted from your vision. The quality of the air in your home will feel different, as if a heavy blanket has been lifted. You may notice that technology that was consistently failing, your phone glitching, your computer crashing, your car having strange electrical issues, will suddenly start working perfectly. This is because the disruptive frequency aimed at you was also interfering with the electronic fields in your vicinity. Its neutralization allows for harmony to be restored on all levels. Even your home environment will shift. Plants that were struggling may begin to thrive. Pets will be noticeably calmer and more affectionate. The house itself will feel more like a sanctuary. Listen to the sounds around you. The world will sound different. You might hear birds sing more clearly. The abrasive noises of traffic or construction might seem less intrusive, as if they are farther away. This is because your own internal frequency is no longer in a state of dissonance with your environment. You are beginning to resonate with the natural harmony of the universe, a harmony that was previously drowned out by the noise of the spiritual conflict. These are not small things. These are the irrefutable, physical signs that the war is over and you have won. The universe is providing you with a sensory-rich report of its actions. It wants you to feel the victory in your bones, to see it in your own face, to hear it in the world around you. This physical evidence is a gift, a grounding mechanism. It is meant to anchor you in the reality of your power and the unwavering nature of your divine protection. Acknowledge these changes as they occur. When you wake up without pain, verbally say, "I accept this healing." When a stranger is kind to you, say, "I accept this harmony." This act of conscious recognition amplifies the healing process and solidifies the new reality you are now inhabiting. Chapter 5. The unraveling of the WEB. The corrupt official was not an isolated actor. They were a single, prominent knot in a vast and intricate web of deceit, jealousy, and systemic decay. Their public downfall is not the end of the story, it is the pulling of the first thread that will cause the entire web to unravel. You must prepare yourself to witness a cascade of consequences that will ripple out from this initial event, for the justice being served is not for one man, but for an entire corrupt ecosystem. This is the next phase of your vindication. The network that supported this official, the very people who pooled their dark intentions and resources to hire him, is now compromised. They are connected energetically to his disgrace, tethered by the dark agreement they made. In their panic, they will begin to make mistakes. They will turn on each other, seeking to assign blame and sever ties before they too are pulled into the light of the investigation. Their frantic energy will become chaotic and self-destructive. They will make paranoid accusations against one another, trying to find a scapegoat for the disaster they collectively created. Watch as they begin to exhibit sudden, uncharacteristic behaviors, desperate attempts at generosity, false displays of piety, or sudden declarations of their own victimhood. This is the thrashing of a dying energy. In the coming weeks and months, you will hear whispers that become shouts. A rumor of someone being suddenly fired from their job for an unrelated, trumped-up reason, which is actually the company preemptively cutting ties with someone they sense is a liability. A story about a former colleague or acquaintance facing a sudden, catastrophic financial crisis or a mysterious, debilitating health problem. You will observe sudden and chaotic divorces, failed business ventures, and public embarrassments among the circle of people you intuitively knew were against you. Do not mistake this for random misfortune. This is the web shaking. Each of these individuals is a smaller knot, and as the central thread is pulled, the tension is causing their own carefully constructed lies to snap. They are experiencing the boomerang effect of the negative energy they directed at you. The universe operates with perfect, impersonal efficiency. The energy of deceit they sent out must return to its source, and it is now doing so, manifesting in their lives as the very chaos and loss they wished upon you. The colleague who spread rumors about your incompetence will find themselves publicly exposed for a major error. The family member who tried to have you declared unstable will find their own life spiraling into chaos. The justice will be poetic and precise. This is the law of spiritual jurisdiction expanding its reach. Your very existence now acts as a passive, powerful catalyst for this unraveling. You do not need to do anything. You do not need to point fingers or seek revenge. Your victory was in surviving and maintaining your integrity. That is all that was required. Your continued presence, vibrating at a frequency of truth and divine alignment, is now toxic to their web of lies. They cannot exist in the same energetic space as your vindicated spirit. Pay attention to the digital world. You may see old antagonists suddenly deactivating their social media profiles or posting vague, panicked messages about clearing out negative energy, ironically blind to the fact that they are the source. Their digital masks are becoming too heavy to wear. The light of this investigation is exposing the rot, and they are scurrying for the shadows. This is a critical time for you to practice detached observation. Watch the events unfold as you would watch a film. Do not engage. Do not gloat. Do not allow their panic to become your entertainment. To do so would be to entangle yourself in their low-frequency drama. Your role is to remain in your center, grounded in the peace you have earned, and to simply witness the perfect and impartial justice of the cosmos. The unraveling is not for your benefit alone, it is a cleansing of the environments you are destined to occupy. The path forward is being cleared of all who would stand in your way, not by your hand, but by the weight of their own corruption. Chapter 6, From Target to Trigger. Your role in this cosmic drama has undergone a fundamental and permanent transformation. For a long time, you were the target. Your light made you a beacon for those who thrive in darkness, and their primary objective was your extinguishment. You endured the attacks, the isolation, and the systematic attempts to break your spirit. You were tested, pressed, and nearly broken, all to see if your light would flicker out. It did not. That phase is now complete. With the public neutralization of their chosen weapon, the corrupt official, your energetic signature has been permanently altered and upgraded. You are no longer the target. You are now the trigger. Your very presence has become an activation key for a divine fail-safe mechanism embedded within the fabric of reality. Wherever you go, any system, organization, or group dynamic that is built on a foundation of lies, corruption, or injustice will begin to self-destruct. You do not need to speak a word or take any action. Your authenticated and vindicated energy field is now so pure and so potent that it functions as a universal truth serum. Think of your energy field as a pure, high-frequency tuning fork. When you bring it into proximity with a cracked, impure bell, which is what a corrupt system is, the bell cannot handle the resonance. It begins to vibrate violently until it shatters, exposing its internal flaws. You are that tuning fork. When you walk into a room, the lies become physically unbearable to those who tell them. Your calm presence will incite panic in the deceitful. Your silence will feel like an accusation to the guilty. Your simple, genuine questions will unravel complex webs of deception. This is a profound and sacred responsibility, and its effects will be undeniable. You will begin to notice this phenomenon in small ways at first. You might attend a meeting at work, and your simple, quiet observation from the back of the room will cause the person giving a dishonest presentation to stumble over their words, contradict themselves, lose their train of thought, and expose their own deception in front of everyone. You might have a casual conversation with someone, and they will, for no apparent reason, confess a long-held secret or admit to a wrongdoing, feeling a sudden, inexplicable urge to unburden themselves in your presence. They will not know why they are telling you. They are responding to the powerful, clarifying frequency of the trigger that is your aura. This power will grow. As you step more fully into your purpose, you will find yourself divinely guided into situations and environments that are in desperate need of cleansing. You may feel a strange pull to apply for a job in a corrupt company, only to find that your arrival precedes a massive internal audit and restructuring that exposes years of fraud. You may feel an urge to move to a new neighborhood, and soon after you arrive, a local political scandal will break wide open. You are not causing the chaos. You are revealing the chaos that was already there, hidden beneath a veneer of normalcy. You are the light that is being switched on in a dark room, forcing all that scuttles in the shadows to be seen. This new role requires a new level of emotional and spiritual mastery. You must remain a neutral catalyst. The events that you trigger will be tumultuous and will affect many people. It is not your job to manage their reactions or to save them from the consequences of their own actions. Your power lies in your neutrality. To feel pride in the chaos or pity for the corrupt would be to step down from your role as a divine instrument and become entangled once more. Your function is akin to that of a mirror. A perfect mirror does not judge the reflection it shows, it simply reveals what is there without distortion. Your neutrality is your perfection as a divine instrument. This is why you were put through the divine quarantine. You had to be stripped of all attachments so you could perform this function without bias, without pity for those who choose corruption, and without ego in the face of the power you now wield. You are no longer just a protected asset, you are an active agent of cosmic change. You have graduated from being the subject of the lesson to being the lesson itself. Chapter 7. The untraceable blueprint of your ascension. The fall of the corrupt official and the unraveling of the web is not the destination. It is the clearing of the launchpad. The conclusion of this chapter in your life, the final public validation of your struggle, marks the true beginning of your assignment. Everything you have endured up to this point, the pain, the isolation, the relentless attacks, and the ultimate vindication, has been a meticulously designed training program to prepare you for what comes next. You have been emptied of fear and filled with unshakable faith in your divine protection. You have been shown, in no uncertain terms, that no worldly power, no amount of money or influence, can stand against you when you are aligned with your purpose. You are now equipped to operate at a level you could not have previously imagined. The blueprint for your ascension is untraceable by human means. It does not exist in a business plan or a 5-year goal sheet. You cannot plot it on a chart or explain it with logic. It is encoded in your spirit, a living, breathing schematic that will unfold one step at a time, revealed to you through intuition, synchronicity, and direct divine guidance. This blueprint is untraceable because it exists outside of linear time. The next step is often revealed only after the current one is taken in complete faith. It requires you to walk in the dark, trusting that a bridge will appear beneath your feet the moment you step out over the abyss. This is the ultimate test of faith, to act on inner knowing even when the external world presents no evidence. Your path forward is no longer about survival, it is about creation. The enemies of your past were focused on stopping you from reaching a door. Now, you must understand, all doors are open, and entirely new doors are being created for you where none existed before. The challenge is no longer breaking through barriers, but choosing which path to walk through, discerning which mission is truly yours. The universe will now begin to present you with opportunities that seem to come from nowhere, so perfectly tailored to you that they feel like a dream. They will be aligned with the passions and skills you honed during your period of isolation. A project that allows you to use your voice to speak truth, an invitation to lead a community that needs your unique strength, an investment that miraculously appears to fund a dream you thought was dead, a connection with a powerful and righteous ally who recognizes your light. These are the building blocks of your new reality. These new allies will not be like the people from your past. They will be other souls who have undergone their own trials, who speak the same energetic language, and who require no explanation of your journey. These connections will form instantly with a sense of recognition that transcends time. This is your new soul family, a network of light bearers assembled to support the next stage of the collective mission. They will see your scars not as damage, but as a map of your victory. Your ascension is not about acquiring wealth or fame in the way the world understands them. Those are byproducts, not the goal. It is about stepping into a role of profound influence, becoming a pillar of the new world that is being built as the old one crumbles. You will become a source of stability for others, a guide for those who are just beginning their own awakening. The lessons you learned in the dark will become the light you offer to them. Your scars are now your credentials. The next phase of your life will require you to trust your inner compass more than ever before. Logic will not be able to explain the opportunities that arise. Your old circle will not understand the choices you make. You must move with the silent confidence of someone who is following a map that only they can see. The journey ahead is not a promise of an easy life, but a guarantee of a purposeful one. The tests will become more subtle tests of prosperity, influence, and peace. Can you handle abundance without developing an ego? Can you lead without becoming a dictator? Can you maintain your inner peace when the world wants to either condemn or worship you? You have proven yourself. You have faced the avatar of corruption and stood your ground, and the universe has responded by dismantling it before your eyes. This was the final exam of your old life. You have passed with honors. Your real work, the work you were born to do, begins now. The blueprint is active. Your ascension is authorized.